On fixed odds betting terminals will be reduced to £2 under new rules announced by the government. At the moment, people can bet up to £100 every 20 seconds. And it's been claimed the machines can lead to gambling addiction. The Association of British Bookmakers has warned that there could be job losses and argued the problem of gambling addiction was a lot more complicated than just cracking down on the machines. Let me bring our other guests in. Ayesha, first of all, do you back what the government is doing?
Yeah, I do. It's absolutely the right decision. And also I do pay tribute to Matt. He's campaigned really long and hard for this. And to take some mea culpa, I think the last Labour government did make a mistake by, deregulating this to this degree, and there was a proliferation of these sort of machines. But I think to Mark's point about the economics, I think there is a knock-on benefit which you might not be readily able to capture immediately in terms of, if you look at the sort of opportunity, cost and damage of a lot of the effects of gambling, it is a blight on people's lives. It can affect their mental health. People can become so addicted they sort of lose their jobs. There is a big kind of
there's
social...
a cost to society.
There is a cost. And
although it hasn't worsened since the rates of problem gambling were the same in 1997 when Labour came to power. So it's not obvious that actually the gambling liberalisation under the Labour government from 1997 onwards worsened the problem in aggregate.
The ease at which people can get into, as you said about the casino, you're right. I mean, it is a wee bit like if we wanted to go and do a bit of gambling, we'd have to put a bit of effort into it. We could go into a betting shop really, really easily and get onto one of these machines. So there are some natural obstacles.
Not so much on your computer, which you can switch on immediately.
Right, we'll come on,
and I think
we'll come on to the online.
To be looked at.
Can I just talk about addiction? I mean, listening to this discussion, do you accept and agree with Matt that the way these particular machines are devised leads to a much quicker route to addiction?
Yeah, I think the clinical literature on that is clear, and the machines are designed precisely for that purpose. They use a kind of reinforcement strategy that can hook people in very rapidly. And the problem with them often is that they're people who have cognitive impairments or who are elderly, who are suffering from cognitive control problems, are particularly susceptible.
Right, so would you support regulation, tighter laws to restrict and, on this case, obviously bring the stakes right down?
Well, it seems to me at least that bringing the stakes down helps minimise the potential for harm for the populations that I just described.
What about banning the machines altogether?
Well, that's a more complicated issue. I don't know enough about the particulars of these machines in the context of the gambling industry here to say anything particularly intelligent about that.
Right. I mean, the thing is, the machines aren't being banned, so it is just about the stakes coming down. So I don't quite see what the problem is broadly in terms of people still being allowed to gamble.
I think it will effectively be a ban. My understanding of the monies behind this, that if you cut the stake by that much, the profit margin collapses, these machines become non-viable. So you can actually effectively ban products and services by fixing prices, even if you haven't actually legally prohibited them. So most likely, my judgment would be these machines will be ripped out of the high street, and most likely, unless we're actually going to ban the ability to go to a computer and find a roulette wheel, then we're only banning a particular type in high street.
The question is, in part, is there any social good that these machines produce? You could argue that the government needs to allow and regulate gambling because that's the least amount of harm that can be done, given that people are likely to do it anyways. But it's very difficult to make a case that there's any social good that's associated with gambling.
Right.
A lot. I would say. I mean, I spend most of my annual leave in Las Vegas. I love it. I get fun out of it. Right. It produces jobs for croupiers and bar staff.
You can obviously control yourself.
The overwhelming majority of people can. So gambling per se, I think, is a good. It is a social and an economic good. It brings fun to a lot of people, and it creates a lot of jobs and economic activity.
Matt, do you agree with Mark that actually it is an effective ban? I mean, would you like to see the government be even tougher when it comes to these kinds of machines?
It's an effective ban on the roulette content. The machines will still be slot machines, and they'll still be in betting shops. B3 content, what's called B3 content. But when the bookies brought these machines in, They did so in a very much illegal grey area. They said that because the server that determines the result of each spin is outside the premises, it's the same as betting on a horse race. So therefore, that's how they sort of Trojan horsed roulette and casino games into their shops in the first place. And then it was legitimised in the 2005 Gambling Act, and the minister said, well, look, it's £100 a spin. That's quite high. It's quite unusual. If there's evidence of harm, then we can reduce the stake.
All right.
And it has taken a while, but we're back to that now.
All right, Matt and Mark, thank you both very much.